It's been almost 2 years since the federal Liberal government tabled a federal budget or any sort of direction about how they're going to manage the nation's finances, even though they've spent hundreds of billions of dollars in the last year alone. And it's also been over a year since Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland visited Alberta and met with the Premier and said that she was going to listen to the province. You know, I just read an article, for those of you who've been following me on my Facebook page for some time, you know I represent a riding in north central Calgary, and I just read this article about the Green Line. It's this transit project in my riding being delayed again. And there's, you know, jurisdictional squabbling on funding and all sorts of things, you know, but at the end of the day, the federal government under Trudeau has enacted a lot of very detrimental policies against one of the primary industries in Alberta. And they really haven't thought about what this means for the people of my province. You know, I always use this example. I really believe that whenever the federal government affects an industry or a region, they have an obligation to explain to the people in that region and figure out a joint path forward with them. It's a positive way, not just some of these things that we've seen like in Alberta. So the example I like to use is, can you imagine if Justin Trudeau had shut down the auto sector in Ontario? I mean, there would have been mass outcry, and you know, I support the auto sector, but I do think that there would have been, you know, some attention paid to the people who work in those industries, as there should be at any point in time. So why hasn't the same been done for people in Alberta that work in the energy sector? So as the federal government approaches its budget, you know, I really hope that there's not this lip service continue to be paid to the province of Alberta that Chrystia Freeland gave to people in the province when she visited over a year ago. I mean, to her right now, she said she'd be listening to the province. Well, here's some very real figures. People in my province have some of the highest unemployment levels in the country, as we did pre-pandemic. We had a jobs crisis before the pandemic started, and the pandemic's only made it a lot worse. Opioid deaths are rising, suicide rates are rising, we're having a mental health crisis, domestic violence rates are rising, Calgary downtown is virtually hollowed out, we're losing head office jobs. I could go on and on. The thing is, though, is what we don't see from the Trudeau government is policy that treats every region of the country equitably. And in fact, they've been very happy to turn a blind eye. You all remember the Canada Day a few years ago when Justin Trudeau forgot to mention Alberta in his list of provinces when he was on the stage in kinder times. And that's just unacceptable. So, you know, when I see articles about infrastructure projects in my riding, you know, not going forward, it's just kind of a reminder that the Trudeau Liberals, they have really treated my community like a wasteland. And that's just wrong. I mean, you know, it's been over a year since I wrote the Buffalo Declaration, and I stand behind that work. I do very strongly believe that there are systemic inequities in Confederation, and that if we are going to continue moving forward away from a path of disunity that Trudeau has put us on, then we need to correct those inequities. We need to be purposeful about it. And I just really hope that in the upcoming federal budget that Chrystia Freeland doesn't forget the fact that their policies have really left the people of my province behind. So, you know, the one thing that I appreciate about people who watch my feed, I know that many of you watch these videos from across the country, from every part of the country, is that there are so many people in our country that understand this, that don't live in Alberta, that actually want to see this problem corrected, because you understand that a strong Alberta means a strong Canada, and when every region of the country is prosperous, we're more secure as a country. We have more of the ability to maintain sovereignty, and I want to thank you for that. I also want to ask for your help. So the federal budget supposedly is going to be tabled on April the 19th, and again, this is 2 years since they tabled a federal budget. You know, if this is something that you believe in, like if you believe in the equity of every region of this country, can you just respectfully and nicely write to Chrystia Freeland, who's now the Minister of Finance, and say, don't forget about Alberta. Don't forget about Alberta and your plans. We need the federal government owes Alberta a solid. We need to get our people back to work. I don't believe that, as Trudeau has done, that he can talk about he really believes that talking about environmental policy means shutting down jobs in the province. He won't even come to the table to have a discussion about the fact that those don't, strong environmental policy doesn't have to mean that we shut down the industry of a province altogether. I just want to let you know, I talk a lot because I'm the Shadow Minister for Health and we're in the middle of a pandemic, that I talk a lot about health-related issues right now, but my heart is in my province, and I'm really, I get really disheartened when I see my province left out of discussions on behalf of the federal government, especially given how much we've contributed to the country. So just a bit of a rant. Again, I saw this article about more infrastructure, cancellations in for my community, and I'm just like, come on, and I enjoy. I want to thank you all for your support too, because I enjoy being a strong voice for the community and being a thorn in Trudeau's side, because I know that there's at least some resistance to him just rolling over the community. He has to go through me. So anyway, I'll keep working hard, but if you have a moment, and even if you've never done this before, write to Chrystia Freeland and just say, don't forget about Alberta in the upcoming federal budget. And of course, today you'll notice that all of the taxes went up, the carbon tax and other things too. That's not a April Fool's joke for anybody but you and me. So, working hard for you. Have a great day.